Hello everybody, I am Tom and you are watching me play The Witcher 3 Hearts of Stone DLC. We are just standing outside the Temple of Lilvani where we were told to meet Olgierd. I think I can just run through the cave is the easiest way there. There is a path around the outside, but I'm just going to go through the cave because why not? It's very dark.
Boy, Creve, your eyes, they shine so in the dark. Thought at first it was a lizard coming.
Thing that attacked. How big was it?
Well, too big to squeeze in here. It were huge, and those teeth, ugh, we barely escaped.
Wonder if it killed the traders. Poor son's sure at it coming.
Important thing now's to get out of here. Will ye help, Master Witcher?
Tell me what happened.
Some traders hired us. To protect him along the high road, they said. Before we knew it, they'd bound us like calves.
Why?
They were kind enough to explain it real precise, that we were necessary sacrifice for progress and trade.
So they left us, tied to the wagon, as beast bait. Weren't long for a huge lizard appeared, as if its master had whistled.
Monsters must have learned by now that army supplies travel down this road.
Oi, clever one, the lizard. Cut us off straight away. Left us to crawl in here. Poor Tommy didn't make it.
Need to tend to the monster. Doubt I'll have to look far. Wyverns like to herd their prey towards their nests.
We'll wait here. Wouldn't want to get in your way.
Royal wyvern. Lucky me.
Indeed. So there's a royal wyvern up here, apparently. I vaguely remember this, and while I'm here, I may as well take care of it. I mean, why not? It's gonna make this episode longer than it needs to be. In fact, I'm tempted to make... They can wait, can't they? I mean, it's not gonna take me long to kill a wyvern. Fuck it, let's kill the wyvern. I wanted to make this, like, pure story stream, but I forgot that this was in here. I didn't fully forget. I remembered as soon as I walked in, I was like, aren't there, like, some dudes in here with a wyvern? But, you know. It's exactly what I wanted you to do there, Geralt. Alright, so down here is the temple to Lilvani, which I need to go to eventually. But up here, I believe, there's a wyvern nest. From memory. That there is a royal wyvern. I'm gonna put Quen on, I'm gonna put some Draconid oil on my blade, and we'll take it out. Ordinarily I would have left this, but it's just so on the way. There's two royal wyverns, hello. One crossbow bolt just took out that wyvern. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Attacked those people. Need to destroy it. Gotta be a royal wyvern hiding around here somewhere. More will spawn. Need to destroy the nests.
I think I just killed their children. What happens when I get rid of this one?
Need to destroy it.
My assumption is there's going to be a royal wyvern that spawns. Interesting start to the episode, not what I was expecting. There's a royal wyvern. That's a bigger wyvern than the last two. I think I killed its children. Wyverns are easier to take out than forktails, in my opinion. They can spit poison, but forktail is always going to be harder because of the forktail. I mean, Wyverns still have a tail attack, it's just nowhere close to the tail attack of a forktail. Ow. They also have the horn charge, which, I mean, it's harder to dodge, but... There we go.
It's huge. What's the name again?
Royal Wyvern. Don't usually come this big.
It's feasted plenty, I reckon. Attacking those travelling the road. What do they call ye, Master?
Geralt of Rivia.
Geralt of Rivia. It'll be a tale to tell the young'uns.
I was about to say, it didn't do the animation. I wonder if Roach is going to appear up on top of this mountain. Because usually Roach appears next to you when you kill a... Indeed. Hey, Roach. That's a hell of a head. Look at that. I don't know if that's the trophy I want. What's it do? Experience from monsters. I mean, it's not horrible. What else do I have? Chance to dismember, don't care. Bonus gold is quite nice. Humans and non-humans. Sure, I'll leave the wyvern head on there. It's actually, it looks freaking cool. One of the cooler looking ones. Anyway, with that done, visit the poster of the notice for your payment. Apparently, there was down here in this village. They actually wanted payment for it, so cool. I can do that after I do this, if I remember, which I probably won't. But you know, whatever. Let's instead go this one. Meet Olgierd down here. That was an interesting start to the episode, as I said. But other than that, let's go. What do I not need? Weapons. Let's drop a bunch. Not what I wanted to do. Let's drop a bunch of clubs that I don't really need. The Hidden Brigand Sword. That should lower my weight a fair amount. I'm still technically overweight, but that decoction helps considerably. Back down safely, if I can pull it off. Through here is the way that I actually want to go to get to the Temple of Lilvani. Betrayal of Witches? I've already read that. This guy died in here, apparently. But, let us meet Olgierd. Right here at the temple. There we go. Wait until nighttime, apparently.
Strange choice of locale. Guessing there's a reason for it.
Not my choice.
Wasn't me who chose it.
I assumed so. But since we're here, I believe you have something for me.
Fulfilled the third wish.
How do I know this to be the rose? Very well might have picked this up at the Oxenfurt market an hour ago.
Look closely at it. Got it from Iris. It was the last thing that bound her to this world.
What?
It's a token of her love. It really was, more than anything.
I think she loved you. Meant this as a token of that love.
She loved me. After all that's passed.
She clearly did.
Iris. What a mess we made of it all. If I'd only known then how it would end. What's happening? I feel as though a hot iron's pierced my chest.
Sorry to have kept you waiting.
That's a hell of a fucking entrance.
So glad to see everyone's made it. How do you feel, Von Everett? A little less troubled? Lighter in the heart?
Or DIMM. What do you want?
What do you mean, what? Your soul.
You forget. The pact states you can take it only once you've fulfilled 3 wishes, and...
And we stand together on the moon. Well, what do you know?
Clever.
What? No. We had a pact. The moon is there. There! Not here.
I gave you what you wished for. Here, on the moon, our contract you fulfilled.
Horse. You cheated me.
I never cheat.
Wait.
Do not interfere, Witcher. Remember what I did to the last fool who interrupted me.
You grant wishes, right? Grant mine and release him.
He must repay his debt.
Let him go, and I'll take it on. We'll call it mine.
You wish to give your soul for his?
No, but we can play for them. I lose, you take mine and Olgierd's. But if I win, you release us both.
What do you propose we play? Gwent?
Don't know. Maybe we can bet on a challenge. You know I'm good at accomplishing the impossible. Seen me do it.
Very well. But we shall do this my way.
Clap, clap. That's all it takes.
What's happening?
You wish to play, so let us play. I shall tell you a riddle. Solve it, and both you and Olgierd will be free.
And if I don't?
Then we'll all 3 go for a wild ride. It's what you proposed, is it not?
The riddle. Let me hear it.
To all things and men I appertain, and yet by some am shunned and disdained. Fondle me and ogle me till you're insane, but no blow can harm me, cause me pain. Children delight in me, elders take fright, fair maids rejoice and spin. Cry and I weep, yawn and I sleep, smile and I shall grin.
What was that supposed to be?
You tell me, what am I?
It's a good riddle. I know the answer, which, because I've played this before, but my first time playing it, I actually figured out the answer pretty quickly too, which I'm happy about.
You're going down.
We shall see, my friend. You must find me before the sand in the hourglass runs out.
The answer to that
Ready?
riddle
begin?
The answer to that riddle, by the way, is a reflection. So we need to find ourselves a mirror.
What is this place?
You like it? Plenty more where it came from. Just remember, you must find me before time runs out.
There is stuff to find in this place, by the way. There's also a lot of stuff he throws in here to distract you. But as far as things that you can actually earn... Ow, fucking... You can actually just run away from the specters, I believe, but... And I may have to. Look, there's a well. Fuck the well. Run this way. I realized that because I was in combat I can't jump. He just rolls, which made me roll directly off the edge. That was stupid. Nevertheless, you can kill them normally, but because I'm so underleveled, it's going to take me a while to be able to kill them, which is a shame. I think I may have had the wrong sword out there, which adds to the problem, obviously, but... the one thing that's very worth noting is the blueprint for the serpent sword you can get here. I'll put on Spectre Oil, for starters, before we even start. In the hope that I can take out these specters.
What is this place?
You like it? Plenty more where it came from.
I don't actually like it that much.
Just remember, you must find me before time runs out.
Monsters weren't part of the deal.
My world, my rules.
Cry and I weep, yawn and I sleep, smile and I too shall grin. Something that repeats all I do? Maybe an echo?
I'm wasting time here.
No dice. You can't possibly ogle an echo.
True. That takes a chunk of
Children
time.
delight in me, elders take fright, fair maids rejoice and spin, cry and I weep, yawn and I sleep, smile and I too shall grin. Damn it, what are you?
The answer is a reflection, Geralt. As I was saying, the recipe for the serpent sword is also something that is here. There's an enemy up here. Spirit of Election. Dead Leshen. Right up here.
What is it about swords that turns men into utter fools when they see one for the taking? Through howling winds,
Viper sword we
pouring
just picked up,
rain,
by the way.
with their life hanging by a thread. Which reminds me, time is running out.
Indeed, we're down to half our time, which is insanely low. I'm going to ignore any more enemies that we find. And there will be more. But we need to get into the house. I believe there's 2 gargoyles up here, which is a big pain in the ass.
Oh, awful. You're doing terribly. You can always give up. As I see it, you will never find me. Never.
A mirror.
Mirror. So this is where you're hiding.
Come now. You didn't expect it to be that easy, did you?
There's more mirrors up here. I could ignore them, but just to show you what happens when you go near them. Crack.
Point for me.
Doing that forever.
Care to wager on it?
Water. A way to beat GAUNTER DIMM that was told to us by the demon dog. Look for a reflection that... Look for a mirror that cannot be broken.
Gotcha. Be gone. You've lost.
Bye bye GAUNTER DIMM.
So, any better?
Yeah, thanks. Wine's revived me a bit.
This plonk could revive a corpse. An exquisitely rank vintage. You know what, though? It's good at last to taste something real. So, have at it. Tell me what the blazes just happened. Your brand's gone. Guessing that's a good sign?
Why don't you tell me what it's like to have a heart of stone?
First off, you tell me what it's like to have a heart of stone.
It's wonderful at the start. You feel no fear, no angst, but also no concern, no care for anyone, not even those you loved. And gradually, you lose them. Well, you know how it ended.
What about your senses? Taste, smell?
All there. At first, I savoured the world like never before. It was stronger, more clear.
How's that possible?
I did not wish for a heart of stone. That was a mere side effect. I wished to win back Iris's hand and have my fortune restored. And then to live like there was no tomorrow. And thus I lived until I ceased to feel anything at all. What a joy to be done with it. Because I am done, right? Will you tell me what happened?
I'll tell him the truth.
DIMM decided to have some fun at my expense. Devised a game I was supposed to lose. Seems he'd forgotten the training you put me through in doing the undoable.
So only to protect myself. In doing so, I put you in harm's way. Forgive me.
have to worry about him anymore. You're safe and free.
I thank you. Though I've no notion what to do with this freedom now. Mira took everything. Everything I loved. All I held dear.
Not true. Got your heart back.
A bitter victory. Now at last I sense how much I've lost.
It's a hell of a line.
Yet all it feels is grief, sadness, and defeat. My life is a ruin.
Can't say I envy you. As the saying goes, careful what you wish for.
Oh, I shall be. Believe me. Actually, I've a better idea. I'll never wish for anything again.
Probably wise.
It's time I took fate into my own hands. Lived life anew. And truly, this time.
Sounds like a plan.
I'll never forget what you did for me, Witcher. I have something for you.
Can't accept this.
You can, and must. This sabre's been in my family for generations. Even when I'd lost all else, it remained at my side. Means a great deal to me.
All the more reason why I can't take it.
Do me the honor. This'll mark the start of my new life. And such a weapon could be right useful to you.
Thank you.
Ow!
Sorry.
Blade named Iris.
You needn't be. I thank you again, Geralt. And good luck on the path.
Good luck to you too.
He's no longer immortal. Which the first time through I always found very interesting. Immortality was never part of his wish. It, along with the Heart of Stone, is just a necessary fact of it, because Gaunter, if he dies before the pact is fulfilled, Gaunter can't get his soul. So Gaunter made him immortal, so that he could essentially claim his prize. There's no music going on at the moment, which is very strange. It's also playing the regular Witcher 3. Yeah, that was weird. It played the original, the actual credits of the game rather than the Hearts of Stone one. But we're sitting about half an hour, but the last thing I want to do before we properly end this series of videos is I want to go through at all the people we learnt about in this. First, let's go over the quicker ones, like Casimir. In a strange sequence of events, Geralt found himself participating in a robbery of the Borsodi's auction house in Oxenford. How this came about is a fascinating story, which must be left for another time. Let us here focus on a few facts. The Witcher was tasked with putting together a crew of expert thieves and break-in artists. One of the candidates was a certain Casimir Bassi, a demolitionist specialist who had cut his teeth in the mines of Mahakam. Nothing particularly interesting there. Mainly because he killed himself, so we didn't really get to learn more about him. Evelyn Gallo. To rob a vault, one must force open armor-plated doors and secret away mounds of loot. First and foremost, however, one needs to get inside the building containing said vault. To accomplish this, Geralt used the help of a certain Evelyn Gallo, a circus performer, famed through all the North, and who, it seemed, used her considerable talents for less law-abiding purposes as well. As is often the case in life, Evelyn was willing to help, but only in exchange for a favour. The witch had to save her circus troupe from humiliation. He duly performed the required feat, and the limber Elfless then joined the break-in crew. Evelyn Gallo performed a task and guided Geralt and his accomplices into the auction house. Yet as soon as the heist stopped going according to plan and the Redanian soldiers surrounded the auction house, she shimmied up and out of the chimney and was never seen by Geralt again. Ewald Bolsodi. When he found himself witnessing a battle of brothers, Geralt chose to stand by his partner, Ewald, and with their combined strength they defeated Horst and his bodyguards. Ewald then repaid Geralt in the worst possible way. He tried to cheat him by keeping Maximilian's house for himself. Luckily, the Witcher kept a clear head, and instead of slaughtering Ewald at once, proposed a compromise both sides would find acceptable. Their paths parted soon after, and Ewald left to manage his family fortune, and Geralt returned to the path of the Witcher. Now we're going to do GAUNTER last. Horst Borsodi. Horst Borsodi, owner of the most famous auction house in all the North, was a snob and a buffoon. He looked down his nose at Geralt with the very moment they met, and when he heard what had brought the Witcher to him, he had his men toss him out and beat him. To say their relationship got started off on the wrong foot would thus be putting it very lightly indeed. It came to no surprise then when Geralt chose to stand by his partner Ewald in the final showdown between the two brothers. With their strength combined, they defeated Horst's hired muscle. A few moments later, Ewald killed his hated brother in a spectacularly cruel fashion. Indeed, he crushed his face with the bust of a statue. It was later said none walked behind the once rich and mighty Horst Borsodi's casket, and none shed a tear over his grave. That's sad, kind of, but he was a cunt of the highest order, so I don't really care. But interesting here too was that, what does it say? Moments later, Ewald killed his hated brother in a spectacularly cruel fashion. That is true, but he did give him a chance. He said to him, Horst, you can leave with nothing but the shirt on your back, like you made me do, you can leave. And Horst goes, just give me one thing, so I can, like he was greedy, and then he killed him for it. Hugo Hoff, unfortunately, died. Geralt needed someone who could scale the glass-smooth wall of the tower abutting the Borsodi's auction house. One of a few capable of this was Hugo Hoff, alias Beef Patty, a halfling with countless break-ins and robberies under his belt. Geralt was told to look for him in Oxenfurt, whose seedy taverns served as watering grounds for students and criminals alike. Sadly, it turned out Hoff was in no condition to join Geralt's crew. The halfling must have stepped on some powerful toes, for someone had slapped stone slippers on him and taken him for a long walk off a short pier and into the Ponta. Irina Renard, not really directly related to this, but it's news, so I'll read it. Irina Renard's first experience in the performing arts had made her not just the informal leader of the mummers troupe known as the Foxen, but its brightest star as well. This talented artist was famous for her brilliant performances as the leading lady in both comedies and tragedies. Her performance in such acclaimed plays as Love in a Time of Contempt and Barbara of Kafir and Seven Brides for Seven Emperors had made her name well known to any with even a modicum of interest in culture and the arts. So some of these aren't directly related to the DLC, but I'm going to read through them anyway. There's quite a lot. God damn. Most of these are DLC left. All geared, I'll wait. Philippa, I have a bunch on, but yeah, I've clicked it now, I'll read it. Philippa Eilhart, one-time advisor to King Visimir II, called the Just, member of the Council of Mages and later founder of the Lodge of Sorceresses, had played a momentous part in the history of the world as well as in Geralt's life. There could be no denying her talent, yet neither could one claim she did not also at times demonstrate sickly ambition. Very trustworthy reports indicated that she had a hand in King Visimir II's death, and, as a member of the Lodge, was implicated in the murder of two other monarchs as well, Demavend of Eden and Foltest of Temeria. For this reason, one-time Jewel of the Court at Tredegor was now a wanted woman, and the quarry of special forces from the North and Nilfgaard alike. Visimir's son and successor, Radovid V, was particularly eager to capture her. During their last encounter in Loch Muin, he had Philippa's eyes gouged out, yet she had fled, and he wanted nothing more than to stick the head of Tredegor's jewel on a spike above the city gates. Indeed, in fact, from memory, this happened in The Witcher 2, by the way, the summit at Loch Muin. I'm pretty sure that Radovid didn't have her eyes taken out. I think Radovid did it personally. I think he personally scooped her eyes out from memory. It was pretty insane. We have Professor Shakeslock. Geralt was racking his brains for a way to defeat Master Mirror when Shani came to his rescue. She knew of a professor from the Oxford Academy who had spent years scrutinizing any manifestation of black magic and surely would be able to help. Unfortunately, the witch hunters had decided the professor's knowledge was best used for their goals, and their goals only, and had placed guards outside his home. Officially, he was a free man, but in reality no one entered or left the house without their permission. The professor told Geralt for the long hours he had spent scouring old tomes for accounts of Gaunter or DIMM, alias Master Mirror, he had been set on this trail by Olgierd von Everick, who paid him handsomely for his labours. This research had borne fruit in the form of a great many secrets about the mysterious O'Dim, including a possible way to outsmart him. Sadly, however, the professor did not live to see if this trick would work for Geralt in practice, for during their conversation, Shakeslock made one step outside the runic circle drawn on the floor of his residence and died immediately. We will never know if this step was accidental or deliberate. By the time Geralt met him, he had become a tired and tormented wreck, who just might have considered death a relief. Indeed, we actually got that from his diaries. We have Quinto. Geralt has taken on a mad assortment of tasks in his life, many of which strayed far beyond his core trade of monster hunting. Recruiting a team to break into a vault in the Bosordi's auction house, however, stood out as atypical even against the motley backdrop. One of the shady characters the Witcher was told would make a good candidate was Quinto, the most famed safecracker north of the Yaruga. Quinto gave proof his regulation was well-deserved. He opened the cage in which the group of mercenaries led by Hands of Sedaris held him using only a fishbone. After this feat, the Witcher had no doubt Quinto was the man to fill the gap in his break-in crew. Quinto demonstrated the craftsmanship of a true artist by tickling open the auction house's vault doors in the blink of an eye. He also demonstrated the rotten cynicism of a true lowlife, displaying not one speck of loyalty to his companions. In the fight which took place in the auction house's basement, he stood against the Witcher and paid for this mistake with his life. Indeed. Stranger, this is Ewald. It's just before you know Ewald is Ewald. Geralt's auction-going experience ended in catastrophe. Not only was he summarily tossed out on his venerable Witcher rear end, he also failed to learn anything about Maximilian's house. Then, while pondering his next step, he was approached by a mysterious stranger. This man did not say who he was, where he was from, how he knew of the Witcher, or how he had found him. All he would reveal was that he could help Geralt gain access to the auction house's vault, without asking the owner's permission. The stranger proposed they meet somewhere more secluded so he might explain his plan in greater detail. The mysterious man was planning to break into and rob the auction house. He claimed the subject of Olgierd's wish, Maximilian's house, was to be found inside its vault. Though the Witcher usually refused to engage in criminal activities, he came to the conclusion he had no choice but to agree to work with this secretive gentleman. During the break-in, the mysterious stranger was revealed to be none other than Horst Bosordi's brother, Ewald, who had disappeared years earlier. This family reunion was no joyous event, however. Rather than grasp hands and pat shoulders, the brothers immediately reached for each other's throats. And we have the Black Cat and Dog. They actually were the ones that gave me the clue on what the actual answer to GAUNTER DIMM's riddle was. They were told to look for a mirror that could not break or something similar to that. Tasked with finding the violet rose Olgierd had given his wife, Geralt travelled to the von Everec family's abandoned estate, which had become home to a host of strange and horrifying creatures. Among these were a black cat and dog, who, though able to speak, chose to say very little about themselves. Geralt surmised that they were demons from another sphere who had been summoned by black magic, trapped in animal bodies and bound to Servaris von Everec. The enigmatic duo trusted Geralt would help them regain their lost freedom, even though he himself had no idea how he might go about doing such a thing. Later, when Geralt encountered Iris von Everec's memories, he learned Olgierd had summoned the otherworldly dog and cat to keep his wife company in his absence, an idea only a man with a heart of stone could have imagined working. The two creatures remained loyal to Iris even after she died and transformed into an enraged ghost, but they never loved her and felt no sympathy for her fate, for such feelings did not form a part of their nature, and did not reside in even the darkest corners of their souls. In the end, the strange dog and cat regained their longed-for freedom when Iris von Everec gave Geralt the violet rose, thereby ending her existence. With their lady gone, the cat and dog service ended, and they were free again at long last. Yeah, it was interesting. When we buried Iris, I was like, did you guys want to say anything? And they were like, oh, human custom, we don't give a shit. They legitimately just did not care. So, too bad for her, I guess. Also, we did see in Iris's memories that Iris had told Olgierd that she wanted a dog and a cat. So, in his kind of Stoneheart way, he tried to fulfill her wish because he thought he should. Vladimir von Everec. Now, this is a fucking entry. Geralt was tasked with finding Vladimir von Everec and showing him the time of his life. This would have been one of the Witcher's least remarkable missions, had not Vladimir been dead for years at this point. The mysterious Master Mirror did not think this much of an obstacle, however. He handed Geralt a vial of von Everec's blood and told him of an incantation which would summon Vladimir from the grave. Geralt thus journeyed to the von Everec family crypt and sought out the younger von Everec's place of burial. Geralt's meeting with Vladimir began with a fight against other deceased members of the von Everec clan. Only after they were defeated did Vlad reveal himself, explaining he'd refused to fight alongside his dead kin, as he'd never been particularly fond of them. Overall, Olgierd's brother cut a strange figure, even for a ghost. He showed hints of noble refinement, but often his mannerisms better resembled those of a lifelong brawler or hooligan. No doubt because he had spent much of his living years raiding and marauding with a band of rough characters, indeed. There was that kind of weird distinction of him where he was clearly noble and thought of himself as such, but he was like a brigand. One thing is certain, Vladimir liked to have a good time and had found death sorely lacking in quality entertainment. His demands for his night of fun were simple. He mainly wanted to get well and thoroughly plastered, and, well, let us say the dead man's inability to enter into relationships with the fairer sex had tormented him terribly. All in all, after hearing Geralt relate Vladimir's complaints about the afterlife, I feared all the more. I feared death all the more. It's funny because it's written from Dandelion's perspective. Vladimir jumped into Geralt's body, and together they accompanied Shani to her friend's wedding, where Vlad found more than enough entertainment to scratch his itch. He dove for slippers in a pond, played Gwent, drank enough for 3 horses, chased pigs, and even managed to steal a kiss from Shani. When midnight struck, the capping ceremony began, and Vladimir von Everic's time among the living came to an end. Yet the witch's skin had felt so good on him, he had no intention of shedding it. Only the appearance of Master Mirror finally forced Vladimir back whence he came. In Geralt's account, Master Mirror caused Vlad's ghost a great deal of pain while banishing him. I do not know exactly how one can cause a disembodied spirit pain, but clearly Master Mirror knew a way. He was strange, that one. Even thinking about him now gives me goosebumps. Let's do Shani. A long one. I'm leaving the long ones to end, obviously. Geralt entered the Oxenford sewers expecting to hunt down a hideous monster, so you can imagine his surprise when down one of these dank, slimy corridors he ran into Shani, an old and dear friend. Geralt and I had first met this extraordinarily young woman years earlier, when she was a cultish co-ed, but by the time she had grown into a dignified doctor and a fearless field medic for the Redanian army. The latter role had led her and a unit of soldier escorts to descend into the sewers. Their goal was to gather a sample of the venom spewed by the monstrosity squatting there. Geralt, a gentleman through and through, agreed to help her in her task. Geralt's encounter with Vladimir von Everec reminded him that he and Shani had once shared passionate, though passing, feelings for each other. He also became aware some remnant of these feelings was still lodged in his heart. At times fate composes tales so shocking no poet would dare put his name to them, for fear his public would mock them as overly outlandish. Such was the case when Geralt and the ghost of Vladimir von Everec shared a body for an evening and accompanied Shani to the wedding of Aldona, her friend from the academy. Some might have let this unusual escort interfere with their enjoyment of the wedding, but not Shani. Looking around the tasteful wedding decorations, smelling the rich odour of berry-laden rowan, a plant near and dear to her heart, one which summed up fond childhood memories, Shani felt the heedless abandon Shani felt the heedless abandon of her younger years return, and overjoyed, threw herself into the thick of the festivities. One thing is certain, Shani was not bored by the company of Vladimir von Everec, who showered her with professions of burning desire and swept her off her feet with his maniacal energy. Yet when the hour came for him to return to the netherworld, she breathed a sigh of relief, for now she could spend some time alone with Geralt, who was much more sensitive and predictable, though Vlad would probably just call him boring. A pleasantly begun evening blossomed into a night of rapture, then settled into a golden dawn on the shores of a lake, serenaded by nature's first awakening murmurs. Though Shani seemed delighted by the course of events, the morning air had put her in a reflective mood. She parted ways with Geralt, explaining she had to think through what had just happened. Fate decreed Shani would not linger long in her hometown of Oxenford. For as long as the war lasted, she was the Redanian armies to command, and her commander had decided to send her to Kedwin, the conflict's eastern front. Before setting off, she managed to inform Geralt about a certain Professor Shakeslock, who might be able to help with GAUNTER or DIMM. Geralt thanked his friend, and they parted ways, hoping they would meet again later on, quite preferably sooner. And we have Olgierd von Everec. That's a hell of an entry. To this day, I do not know what caused Geralt to inquire about the contract posted by Olgierd von Everec, the famed Witcher curiosity? An ominously light coin pouch? Or perhaps it was some other, more nefarious force. Whatever the impulse, Geralt decided to visit the locally infamous nobleman and pursue the bounty on the sewer monster. From their very first encounter, Geralt knew Olgierd was a unique character. He led an informal band who worshipped the ground he walked on, though he clearly was a different sort than they, educated, a lover of art, and adherent to a certain noble code. Yet Geralt also perceived something indefinable within the man, something years later he would call a void crying out to be filled. Geralt later returned to the estate where he had first met Olgierd and his band and found the place in flames. Yeah, no, that's fine. He soon learned the property did not in fact belong to Olgierd, but had merely been commandeered by the Ataman and his men, who then went a touch overboard in their carousing. Olgierd did not begrudge them their pyrotechnic over-exuberance, but the murderer of the manor's lord he considered one cruelty too far and ordered the wrongdoer beheaded. Geralt entered the stage in the middle of this execution. In the tumult that followed, he made a most startling discovery. Olgierd von Everec was immortal. And immortality was but the start of the surprising revelations about Olgierd. Master Mirror revealed the two had signed a contract. In exchange for regaining his lost status and wealth, Olgierd had promised Mirror something very personal. What exactly, Geralt did not yet know. This contract had a strange clause, however. Before it could be considered complete, Master Mirror could collect his due, he had to fulfill 3 of Olgierd's wishes. He could not do this personally, however, but needed instead to make use of a proxy. His choice for this role? Geralt, who in this way was drawn into a personal settlement between a powerful immortal nobleman and a mysterious GAUNTER DIMM. Upon hearing Geralt would be the one to carry out his request, Olgierd wasted no time and issued him his first challenges, to bring him the house of Maximilian Bossodi and show his brother Vladimir the time of his life. Granting Olgierd's wishes had proven difficult but rewarding, for Geralt now knew a great deal more about the unusual nobleman, and the story that unfolded could have jerked tears from a cyclops. Once upon a time, Olgierd fell hopelessly in love with Iris, a beautiful young lady from a well-off family. Her parents accepted his proposal of marriage and all seemed set for a happy ending when a storm of misfortune suddenly broke over the von Everec family. A chain of bad decisions and a few years of bad harvests had left the once wealthy family deeply in debt. Then the Bossodis purchased this debt, and with their brutal enforcement of its terms, drove the von Everecs into utter bankruptcy. After this, Iris's parents changed their mind about their daughter's future husband, revoking their approval of Olgierd and betrothing Iris to an fairy prince, who had come to study in Oxenfurt. Out of desperation, Olgierd turned to Master Mirror, and soon won back his coin, influence, and most importantly, his betrothed. All seemed well until he discovered his wish's unwanted side effect. His heart was slowly hardening into stone. Now the Witcher was on the verge of bringing the pact between Olgierd and Master Mirror to completion. Did this mean everything would soon be as it once was? Geralt was not so sure. One question kept nagging him. What was that something very personal GAUNTER DIMM intended to collect from Olgierd? Once Geralt realized Master Mirror was planning for the highest of stakes, Olgierd von Everec's soul, he decided he could not sit idly by. Instead, he found a way to cheat the demonic being and win Olgierd back his soul. Free from this pact and his heart restored, Olgierd thanked Geralt and gave him his sword, a souvenir which had been in his family for generations, then walked off into the sunset. And finally, GAUNTER DIMM. Geralt had escaped a great many predicaments, sometimes of his own doing, sometimes aided by others. One of the strangest helping hands was that extended to him by Master Mirror. The Witcher was on an Ophiri's ship, held captive and bound for a date with the gallows, when, out of nowhere, in came Master Mirror. He reminded the Witcher of their first encounter, when he helped Geralt find Yennefer in White Orchard. Now he was offering help as well, this time for a price. In exchange for freeing Geralt from the ship, he demanded Geralt meet him at certain crossroads. When the Witcher agreed, a strange mark appeared on his face. It was as though Master Mirror had put a stamp on him to show him they had entered into it as a pact, a suspicion later confirmed beyond all doubt. GAUNTER DIMM explained he and their mutual acquaintance, Olgierd von Everec, had entered into a strange pact. Their deal stipulated O'Dim would have to grant von Everec 3 wishes, yet he could not do so on his own, having to call instead upon a service of a proxy. And who better to provide such assistance than a Witcher? Since O'Dim made agreeing to be this proxy a condition for receiving help off the Ophiri ship, Geralt had little choice but to agree. It's also interesting to note that all of the things that happened that made us lead to the boat, they could have been prevented by O'Dim, but they were not. Master Mirror appeared once again, suddenly and out of nowhere. As usual, after proclaimed his first two wishes, Mira told Geralt of a way to show Olgierd's brother the time of his life. Even though this life had in fact ended years earlier, he equipped Geralt with von Evereg's blood and the knowledge of how to summon Vladimir's ghost. Just how Jim had managed to collect a vial of von Evereg blood was never made clear, but then again, burning question marks hung over everything this strange figure did. Master Mira made an appearance at the wedding. Geralt attended with Shani and the ghost of Vladimir, who inhabited Geralt's body so that he may enjoy one last night of earthly revelry. When midnight struck, Vladimir was unsurprisingly in no mood to abandon the pleasure of the witch's flesh. Yet, Master Mira intervened to put an immediate and cruel end to Vlad's stay among the living. Geralt later told me the cries of torment Vlad's ghost made haunted his dreams for months to come. Yeah. Geralt came away from his meeting with Professor Shakespeare knowing of a way to outfox Master Mira. The gnomic pact maker could be lured into a wager, win it, and he would be defeated once and for all. Geralt soon discovered Professor Shakespeare's words were true. Master Mira could indeed be defeated at his own game. Geralt made a bet with him, wagering everything on one battle of wits, and won. By solving Master Mira's riddle, he drove the demon from our dimension, though I fear he may yet return. His kind always returns. That's probably fairly correct there, Dandelion. Now, a few things I want to go over before we end. Firstly, we can have a look at Iris, which I can actually... I don't think I can wield it. Let's have a look. We got the legendary Viper Venomous sword, which is cool. It's a cool sword. But we also have Iris. Weapon charges with energy during combat. When its color changes to red, a strong attack will release this energy in an extra powerful strike at the cost of part of the attacker's vitality. It's a really cool sword, but I think ultimately mine is better. Geschäft is insanely good sword. As is the Grandmaster Ursine Steel Sword. Very, very good. But I'm glad to have these other ones as well. Also, my decoction is worn off. Which means I need to drink it again so that I can walk. There we go. And with that, pretty much going to be the end of the episode. I am going to do that, because that's actually very, very close to get to this village here, and that was for the griffin I killed at the start of this episode. Griffin? Not a griffin, a wyvern at the start of this episode. But that's going to be it. That is the end of the Witcher 3 Hearts of Stone DLC. I should not have looted this stuff, because now I can't move. Drop a bat. There, that'll do. Fine. I did not want to do that. Drop the heavy mace, and then drop a couple more. There we go, that'll do. Fine. Fucking do. Alright, that's gonna be it. So if you like this video and this DLC, please leave a like. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. And as always, thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time. God, this game is so beautiful. Look at that. See you next time, guys.